Ma da. What's goody to the gods and the goddesses, and what's popping to the people? And well, like we always do about this time. Hold on. Drones, aliens, the Black Jesus hustle, and Little White Lies. Who who on the internet be fucking with my titles though? Besides Phil Valentine. Phil Valentine titles be crazy. Phil Valentine. So man, it's all kind of nonsense going on. And I'm late as shit, so it's been a pretty hectic day. So I'm trying to get my life back on. No, I'm about either way it go. Everything, drones and Jay-Z and it's just madness right now. And I can't help but think it's a crazy ass coincidence that all of this is happening right now. We're on the brink of war. We're on the brink of an alien invasion. There's secret drones everywhere. We just spotted an alien at the mall a couple months ago. And it's like, you got this huge trial where the entire, we're calling it the Diddy trial, but let's just be honest. This is the downfall of Hollywood and the entertainment industry simultaneously. So we're seeing the entertainment industry take a huge hit at the same time as the music industry, and at the same time as war, at the same time as re-election, at the same time as, like I said, an alien invasion. It's a lot going on all at once. So how much of this is natural and how much of it is concocted? The problem is we think everything we see is what we see. So, like, for all of the people who've been saying for years that there was aliens and been getting treated like they was cuckoo, well, now the government is agreeing with all the cuckoo people. So now that gives them validation when they see. So now they can say, see, I told y'all, look, the aliens coming. My only problem with this is y'all have too many different beliefs that go in different directions. And I don't think, y'all, my peace queen, I don't think we analyze all the different beliefs. We just have them. So we have to kind of take a peek at this a little bit. When did my cash out colors change? I have to work on that. I don't think I did that. I might have to get that back. I don't like that. Y'all ain't gonna use a damn thing no way, but I still want it bright just in case y'all ever decide to give me something. I want it to be colorful. Y'all could just ignore that. But either way it go. Now, so what I'm saying is you have Christians that believe in aliens. See, that's a super gray area. You're not supposed to be a Christian and believe in aliens. And then recently the Pope came out and said that he believes in them. But then y'all say Christians, y'all be denouncing the Pope like that ain't us, which it is. Y'all just don't know better. So Okay, if you can't be, so what does that do for religion? Because then y'all start getting savvy talking about, well, yeah, the Bible did talk about aliens. And then you have to go in there and find something that sounds like that could be, that possibly was. But when this thing was in its heyday being distributed, they had a strict anti-alien policy because it's not what the Bible teaches. Now, if we're going to play this game and say, well, you can still be Christian and believe in aliens because there's certain parts in the Bible that speak about them. Now, these parts y'all have to decode and break it down. It doesn't really come out and say it. But okay, that's fine. So now we have to take it a step further, and then we have to say, why didn't the Bible extensively go into this alien realm and other planets and make it a part of the actual whole story? Why is most of the story taking place, on Earth with humans? See, we have to decide which way we're going with this thing and stick with it, because there's a thing happening, and if you blink, you'll miss it. So now, here's the deal right here. If we're going to say we now believe in aliens, okay. But a lot of y'all lately been pushing this flat earth thing. A lot of y'all lately been pushing this dome thing. So that's what I say. You believe so many different contradictory things. So now we have to decide, are you on a flat earth and inside of a dome? Because every time I run into y'all get to talking spiffy, talking about, and we got the firmament and the water below and the water above. And okay, so if we believe in a dome and a firmament and all that, then we can't believe in aliens. Because where's the aliens invading from? But this thing evolves, though. That's the one thing about a good laugh. Once it gains traction, it starts to evolve. Because then y'all get spiffy and say, no, but the real outer space is in the ocean. Something I told y'all 10 years ago, but never mind me. The real outer space is in the ocean, and that's where the alien bases is at and all of that. The only reason why you saying that now, because that's what they telling y'all. So you recycle what you get from them, only you try to make it sound smarter, like you got it from somewhere deep. No, it's the same shit on the news. They're admitting to alien bases underwater and all of that. And so if there's alien bases underwater, are you saying by being underwater you can leave the planet underwater? So that water is not for this planet? That's a water, like what kind of water is it? Because if the aliens is not from here and the alien bases is underwater, that would imply that you can go underwater and go to another planet. Is that what you all are implying? Because if that's what you're implying, I'm going to tell you, get that shit out of here right now. So, how about this? Let's use the same theory we use with this deep state thing. When y'all say deep state, y'all imply this shadow government that has infiltrated the government and taken over. Okay. don't think y'all understand. Okay, see, here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. When we imply that there's this shadow government that has infiltrated our government and taken over, that would imply that before that happened, the government was actually good. Because if not, why the fuck are we talking about it? If they weren't good before deep state infiltrated them, then why do we give a fuck? That would seem like it doesn't matter to us. If the government was already fucked up and then they got infiltrated by some more fucked up people, it just seems to me like, who gives a shit? We're still controlled by fucked up people. But y'all don't look at it that way. Which means the implication is before the government was infiltrated by these deep state guys, they were actually good. So I'm going to need somebody to name me a moment in American history when they were actually good. Because I can go back to the start of this bitch. It didn't start right. It wasn't right in the middle, and it ain't right now. But I'm going to throw you one. This whole deep state thing that you're talking about, it already happened. You want me to believe that the guys who infiltrated are getting infiltrated? How the fuck does that happen? So that's like, just imagine if you've been casing out this mansion for 6 months straight and you know it's loaded. Burglary, this is what you do. So finally, you've been watching the family. You know they're going, the Johnson family, they're going on vacation. You got it. It's a lick. So just as you break into this mansion, you in there loading up, singing and shit, and the next thing you know, you turn around and somebody else breaking in. The government is already infiltrated. So you can't infiltrate the infiltrators. That's not what's happening. So we have so just follow the thread tonight, because the thread that's gonna lead us to where we need to be is consistency. We're about to work a pattern tonight, and I need y'all to follow the fucking bouncing ball because we're about to get somewhere. So now, look, if the government has already been infiltrated, you think that those guys are going to be re-infiltrated by some different guys? Okay, who are these different guys? Because we seem to have all type of information, but we don't really have none. So let's talk about the government for a minute. You all refuse to believe, but it's documented fact at this point. And I won't even say documented fact. It's a known fact. I misspoke. It's a known fact amongst most of those who really are into this shit. The United States government is a bloodline. They're related. Every United States president we've ever had, with the exception of 2, were blood relatives. And Donald Trump is not one of the 2. So get that out of your fucking mind. He's a relative as well. Now, so with that being said, you can trace it back to the European aristocracy. So this is the European king and queen shit. They can trace the United States bloodline there. Now, that's extremely fucking important, because, and I say this all the time, bless her soul, a little white child trying to stick up for Obama in history class. Yes, she was. Sweet little child. She was tired of her parents calling Obama a no good nigga, and she set out to prove a point. Now, I don't know about the no good nigga part. I'm freestyling, but she definitely wanted to prove Obama was a good guy to somebody. So, she, on her history report, she set out to pinpoint his family tree and prove that he was American. Because they kept trying to say her black president was not American and she wasn't going to stand for it. So she did her research. And what did she find out? She found out something so good, it was on the goddamn news. You can YouTube it. It wasn't just some white folks at home. This little child was in class and they showed it on the news. See, I know y'all think I have more validity when white people agree with me. That's why I did that. Anyway, now, what the little white child found out was that every United States president, with the exception of two, were all related. And she had a big ass chart and she had strings and shit drawn to everybody, leading all the way up to this one king in Europe. I forget his name, but you can find it out. So now, this is extremely important. Let me tell you why. Because if in that be the case, what the fuck you gonna have an infiltration? What are my cousins gonna break in this motherfucker? Like their family. Now, they don't always agree. That is true. And they have snaked each other several times. That is true. Donald Trump is a representation of something. So if the deep state was, see, you got to think this thing through. What happens is, soon as we like something or somebody, we get emotionally tired and we stop thinking, and you cannot do that. The worst thing about being a revolutionary is you cannot be emotionally attached to anything, not even the black struggle. And I'm going to tell you why. Because everything is not what it seems. You have to think this thing through. Of course, we're supposed to love our people. But we're going to get to why you got to be a little more careful in a second. So now, if every United States president, with the exception of two, are related, then you're dealing with a family business. And that family already has an agenda. When you look throughout history, every dynasty was a family. You think it's a coincidence that I just told you that the bloodline of the United States presidency traces back to the European aristocracy? The number one religion in America is what? Christianity. What's the number one book in America? The King James Bible. European aristocracy. When did they say the slaves got here? They said 1619. By 1630, the United States was flooded with Bibles. This is a business. That's what y'all need to understand. This is a well thought out machine, and it always has been. It's their job to show you inconsistency on the news so that it can look like there's this turmoil and struggle, and because this is how they get you to relinquish your rights and freedoms with problems. But it's the same people still in control. So now, this is why it matters. If we're dealing with a family business, then we have to understand that everything we see has an agenda. Because now, watch this. We got drones flying all over the place. How coincidentally that's happening during the UFO hearings? So you have to understand how psychology works. Since the alien hearings started, look how many alien incidents we've had. Years of randomly everybody just seeing one UFO and some abductions of people that you don't know but you heard about. That's it. That's all we've got for 80 years. 60 years. Yes, 60, 70 years. That's all we've gotten from them. Now, soon as the trials start, we get an alien at the mall. We get an alien in the back of somebody's bushes. We get all of these sightings during the trial. That's how psychology works. It's on your mind. So while we got it on your mind, nobody's connecting the dots that before the alien trials, we wasn't even hearing about no fucking aliens. Now let's deal with that. And y'all heard me say this 1,000 times. You got to think through this. So watch this. They tell y'all that these aliens are a much more intelligent race. They tell y'all that these aliens are a much more technologically advanced race. They tell y'all that these aliens are coming from different solar systems, a couple light years away, and all of this type of shit. So, for 70 years, a much more intellectually advanced and technologically advanced species, more spiritually advanced species, has been coming to our planet light years away for 70 years. They just come, peek, and leave. Why? And why now? If I'm this intelligent and advanced, I'm watching the development of America, of the planet, whatever the case may be. I know I'm 1,000 years more advanced than them. The fuck am I waiting on? I'm watching them. Okay, it don't take nothing. Think about it. They start, according to these people, they start coming in the 50s. Roswell's 54. That's 70 years. They've been coming to this planet. Do you know how fucking if they're 1,000 years more advanced than us technologically, do you know they had to be 6,000 years more advanced than us in the 60s? I mean the 50s, 70 years ago? Black and white? They were so fucking far in front of us then. It would have took 2 years to see, oh, we can take these guys. The fuck are they waiting 70 years for? To bust a move. They're 1,000 years ahead of us. They first came here when we were watching black and white television. Driving cars with big dumbass wheels. So you mean to tell me they watched us advance over 70 years and get to the level where we could damn near defend ourselves before they decide they want to do something? And right now, all of this war turmoil going on, they can see we unstable. We don't got a good control over the presidency and none of this shit. But they just flying the drones around and shit. For what? These are the listen, I'm going to be honest with you, if this is a real thing, I'm not scared, and these are the stupidest fucking aliens ever. Like, I can't wait. If these guys, the ones that's been watching us for 70 years, doing absolutely nothing until we got smart enough to fight back, if that's who's invading, I'll take their leader in a boxing match one-on-one. Fuck it. Like, I mean, why can't we think? I'm going to tell you why. Because of fear. Fear clouds judgment. Clouded judgment clouds your reality. That's the problem. They put you in this state of fear. All of these mixed messages. What's up, broski? It don't make sense. 70 years, bro. 70 years. Do you know what the cars looked like 70 years ago in the 50s? You mean to tell me a race more advanced than us got here in the 50s, seen them big dumbass cars and them stupid ass buildings with everything connected, and they didn't but to move in? Like, what the fuck were they waiting for? They couldn't have possibly seen nothing on planet Earth that made them think, these guys are tough. Okay, I'll throw you a bone. Let's just say they decided we're going to sit back and watch for a while. And then we got to the 60s, 10 years later, and we had to fake the moon landing. They had to be sitting around somewhere cracking up like, hey, they didn't go nowhere. You mean to tell me they didn't get inspired then? Like, okay, they're stupid. Let's get them. What are they waiting for? So now we got to see. Now we got to get real. Because now we got to explore. Now we got to start having what we call where I'm from, some real nigga conversation. We got to start having some real conversation. Because if we don't believe the earth is round and we believe it's flat, then we believe in the firmament and the dome. So if we're in a dome, why do they keep showing us alien spacecrafts in the sky to imply that they're coming from out there somewhere? Because if we're in a dome, ain't shit coming from out there somewhere. So why are they in the sky? They're underground. Okay, well, why aren't they attacking from the oceans? No ships coming up, no nothing. Like, okay, so now we got to explore some more possibilities. If they're not coming from the sky, because we're in a dome, and if they're not coming from the ocean, because the ocean is not going to take you to Saturn or some shit. You're not finna go so far into the ocean that you come out on Uranus or some shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck y'all be thinking. The ocean is not taking you to another fucking planet. If the oceans of all the planets were connected, there would have never been a such purpose for no fucking outer space. We would have just been aquatic beings. What's the purpose for this if everything goes through the ocean? So that's illogical. We got to start thinking. Okay. So now we can't go through the ocean to get out of the planet because that doesn't make sense. We can't go through the sky because there's a dome. So where are the aliens coming from? See, that's why I told you where I'm from, we call this real nigga conversation. We're just having a conversation because in a conversation you can get somewhere. So now we done scratched a couple things off the list. They're not coming from the ocean, because even though they're trying to trick us, talking about there's alien bases in the ocean, there might be. Just because there's some type of underwater base doesn't mean that you can go from the ocean on planet Earth to another ocean on another planet. If you think that, I'm not the one bugging. Okay. Can't go that way, can't go that way. So where are they coming from? Now you only got two options. Either it ain't no aliens or they was already here. Pick one. I'm not gonna play with y'all tonight. If you can't come from the space, and let's deal with that. Let's deal with that. Because we gotta stop being gullible. This outer space game, let's stop playing that. Let's stop playing that. I'm gonna tell you why. So this is what you mean. This is what you think. Because when you say outer space, then we're implying that place where the other planets are. Meaning outside of Earth and going to other planets. That's what they tell us, right? They get on a rocket ship, they go up that way, and they say they're going to this planet, that planet, that. Okay, all right, cool. So let me ask you this. If you can look inside a telescope, it's a metal device with some different type of lens glasses, right? And they tell you, no, let's let you know. I was bad. Let's not speculate. Let's not speculate. Okay, because you can see, you can allegedly, you can see Saturn in a telescope. So let's see how far Saturn is from this planet. Okay, I know some of y'all be talking to y'all phone and shit. I don't do that. How far away is Saturn? How far away is Saturn from Earth? Okay, now we getting somewhere. Saturn is 912.6 million miles away. I'm gonna say this again. Saturn is 912.6 million miles away. And you think you could go online at Amazon, spend a couple $1,000 on a fancy little telescope, and that piece of metal and that piece of glass is gonna let you see 9 million fucking miles away. Are we really this slow? You think something that you can get off Amazon is going to allow you to see 9 million fucking miles away? Now, don't they tell you about all of these things outside of the planet to leave the Earth atmosphere, the Van Allen belt, and all of these things that you got to go through? How come the telescope ain't picking up none of that? The telescope can just see right outside of a planet. You can't just get right outside of a planet. You got to go through some shit. But the telescope can see past all the shit that you're going to have to go through and see right outside the planet and straight to another planet. 912 million miles away. We just not thinking, family. We just not thinking. Ain't nothing showing you no fucking 900 million miles away. There's nothing. Unless you make it technologically. That's going to allow you to see straight through 9 million miles away. That's not happening. So then we have to ask ourselves, so then what the fuck are we looking at? Here's another thing. Okay. If you're saying that the planet is not round, it's flat inside of a dome, but every other planet is a round ball, why is every planet a spinning circle? Why? It's not a thing. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to tell you why it doesn't make sense. I'm going to give you the most logical reason why it doesn't make sense. Look at a map of any country, right? Look at the states inside of the country, are they all shaped the same? Fuck it, I'll make it easier for you. Look at a map of all the continents and then look at the various countries. Are the countries all shaped the same? So cities aren't shaped the same, towns aren't shaped the same, states aren't shaped the same, countries aren't shaped the same, continents aren't shaped the same, but planets, a big round ball, and you can see them. Millions of them. No. Okay. Remember, we're just having a conversation. The beauty of a conversation is what? So we can get somewhere. So we scratched a lot of shit off the list. The aliens are not actually coming from the ocean. Just because they're in the ocean doesn't mean they came from the ocean. They're definitely not coming from outer space. So I don't know why they keep showing us shit flying around in the sky. So then the only way we can have these actual aliens is two ways. We've already established. Well, we got two options. Either they don't exist or they've been here. Now, when we say been here, how long? They would have had to have been here since the dawn. They would have had to have been here since the dawn. Now, if that's the case, why are they here? Now, we got a couple of different stories, but we got a popular story that everybody likes to latch on to. This Anunnaki thing. They came to mine gold. Okay, why didn't they get the gold and get the fuck out of here? It seems like if gold was the mission, they took a huge loss letting rappers and shit steal it all for their neck and teeth. Like, that can't possibly be helping the goddamn planet. You had one job and you fucking blew it. Come down here, keep the gold from the niggas and fix the planet. Instead, you let all the rappers get the fucking gold teeth, and now what? I'm bullshitting, but I'm just saying, like, why didn't they get the gold and leave? Now, let's get back to something. We already established that I would like to believe that we've established every empire in the history of this planet has been a family, a bloodline. Rulers pass it down to their family. It's how it's always been. So I noticed something. I noticed there's two stories going. You got this story about these Anunnaki guys, and then you got this story about these reptilians. Well, how can they both be ruling? And then finally the world caught up with some shit I've been teaching for years. Wait a minute. Maybe these Anunnaki and these reptilians, maybe there's something similar to that. So now we got to think about it. Okay, well, he's just fishing. No, I don't believe in the reptilian thing. Okay, that's fine. So let's do some history. The first civilization that they're giving credit to on this planet is the Sumerians. Well, if you look at the Sumerian flag, it's a half dragon, half lion deity. Now, I'm going to come back and make that make so much sense in 1 second. Anunnaki, Sumeria. Keep that in mind. So now, you get out of Sumeria. Next, you get all of these Nile Valley civilizations. You get Kemet, you get Nubia, you get all of these Nile Valley civilizations. And you start to see the escalation of serpent worship. So by the time you get to Egypt, there's a cobra on all the pharaoh's hats. Not originally, but it came to pass very shortly. But even the ones that didn't have the cobra, they had the way they folded was into like the head of a cobra. So now you see serpent worship going from Samaria into Egypt. Now I know that what they told you it was about, but peep game. On the hieroglyphs, there's hieroglyphs of pharaohs shape shifting into serpents and then shape shifting back into pharaohs. It's on the Luxor wall, ceiling wall, one or two, in the temple of Luxor. Now, when you go throughout history, you will see dragons and serpents on damn near the flag of every major dynasty throughout history. And then you get to America, who has the primary religion that revolves around a serpent, deceiving the masses. Now, let's go back to this Samaria thing, because this whole story about the Anunnaki comes from Samaria. Coincidentally, in this story about the Anunnaki, before they came to this planet, they went to war with a species called the Lyrians, Lyrian. I'm probably pronouncing it kind of funny, but they're a cat species, half lion, half human type. This is all what's in their mythos. So it's just, to me, crazy that you end up in Samaria with their primary deity is half dragon, half lion. The Anunnaki are supposed to be reptilian who went to war with a lion race right before they came to this planet. Now, this is all a folklore, but what I'm saying is you're watching serpentine worship historically keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. You don't have a way to exit this planet, which means whatever serpent, reptilians, whatever they're talking about, if it exists, it's been here. So now, do we believe aliens? I told you got two options. Either they've been here or they don't exist. Now, here's what I find hard to believe. What is the big secret that the government is keeping? What's the big deal? If we got invaded by aliens, for them to say they don't think we can handle it. Okay, let's analyze that. If our government has had contact with other life forms, then we have two options. From that point on, we have to accept either they're being manipulated or they're manipulating us, or both. See, we like to put options on the table that don't exist. That's all we got, family. We have to start committing to what we believe in. Because if there's no aliens, then let's entertain that. Then that means the government itself is something other than just normal. Because how are they so technologically advanced, but only making us go at a certain speed? Why? If there are no aliens, and they have the capabilities to make these flying crafts on their own, okay, just make them. What's the big secret? Make them and sell them. People got a shitload of money now. Make them, sell them. Regulate the sky and turn this bitch into Star Wars. What's the big secret? If it's just the government and they're more advanced, why hide the advancements? For what purpose? So the other option is, okay, a lot of people say that they made contact and they don't want us to know. They're in business with the aliens. How could you be in business with someone you're more 1,000 years ahead of? Well, how could you possibly be in business anytime you was ever in business with someone that you was 10 times smarter than? How'd that work out? You're talking about a species 1,000 years more advanced than us. We hear stuff about them being clairvoyant and 8 feet tall and shit. I mean, just like, how do you do business with a 9-foot lizard who can read your brain? You can't. Our United States government don't tell the truth about shit. You mean to tell me these lying fucking weasels with the fucking hair pieces and shit got? First of all, that's the first thing. That's the first thing. Okay, this species is way more intelligent and more advanced than us. So you go to the meeting with a hairpiece on, and this motherfucker use his X-ray vision and just want to know, like, why did you tape that to your head? These people, according to y'all, this species is smart as fuck. You took some fat bald pedophile with a hairpiece to meet somebody from another planet. Instantly, he gonna smell the children you killed, all the fornication. Look at the shit on your head. He's not gonna trust you. Everything they say is a lie. They're trying to lie to this people who's so fucking intelligent. It's no way it can work out. There's some lies in here somewhere that have to be deciphered. Either they're not more intelligent or we're not partners. One of the two. And if I come here and I see how you treat your people, you think I'm going to have fucking mercy for you? They sit here and they observe and they see how foul they are to the people. They ain't going to have no mercy and victimizing everybody. Us because we too stupid and them because they too horrible. There's no way for this to go smoothly. Someone's being manipulated on all fronts. I want y'all to see something. Hold on. Give me 30 seconds. Just give your boy 30 seconds, man. That's all I'm asking you for. Wow. Let's get this party popping. Okay, hold on. What the hell? I don't want to fit no damn puzzle. Okay, hold on, y'all. Now let me come back over here where y'all at and connect my connector. You know what I'm talking about? Share my screen.
Tonight our story starts with this guy, but no, really it starts with this guy. We're so in awe over this guy that he decides y'all whole family is the general. And this time it's going to be a tricky one. Tonight our story starts with this guy, but no, really it starts with this guy, who's so in awe over this guy that he decides to make it his lifelong mission, making sure we know who he is. But before we can even get into that, we got to deal with these guys, this guy, and this date. On July 8, 1947, Roswell Army Airfield issued a press release stating that they had recovered a flying disc. But according to this guy, who spent most of his life working for these guys and wrote this book, which is one of the #1 whistleblower documentations in history. And here's what he had to say.
On the other hand, I have found references as far back as the beginning of this century by a secret group of very powerful people to create an artificial alien president.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me turn my man up one time.
Some of the found references as
I'm gonna turn my man up so y'all can hear him. Cause as Mystical said, this the man right here. So I'm trying to give him some play. Hold on. Damn, it's all the way up. It's just this is in the beginning of my TikTok days. Bear with me. I'm sorry, family. Okay, yeah, this is loud as it's gonna get.
One whistleblower documentations in history, and here's what he had to say.
On the other hand, I have found references as far back as the beginning of this century by a secret group of very powerful people to create an artificial alien president, some of their plan, to help unite all humanity into a one world government with them at the head.
Now let's get back to this guy who in 1945 created this thing. And as you can see, he had it patented by the United States government, which is essentially just the world's first flying automobile. After several back and forth meetings with the government, they decided, you know what? This thing will never work. Amazing what happened after that. And that's not to say that these guys don't really exist. It's just that, well,
perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Hold on, I gotta get my boys back on here one time though. Let me get my people on here one more time. What the hell? Whoops.
Y'all family is the general.
One more time.
Amazing what happened after that. And that's not to say that these guys don't really exist. It's just that, well,
perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
All right, hold on. Let me detach that. There we go. Now. That's the same guy that created crack cocaine, fed it to the planet, fed it to the black community, and then his wife came up with the Just Say No campaign. You just have to look at how these people move. You create the world's most deadliest drug as the president of the world superpower. And then on the back end, your wife starts a Just Say No to Drugs campaign and pushes it through the schools. This allows for the next president to come in and start the 85%, 80%, 85% truth in sentencing. More incarceration than all the plantations the whole time during slavery put together. This is how diabolical and far ahead they think. So now, what did I just show y'all? That actually was one of my first TikToks, like one of the first 5 or some shit like that, that I did. Now, that dude came up with something that he designed in drawing. He was an architect. And he designed aerial crafts that he called the discopter in the early 40s, like 45 or 1945. In 1945, he drew this, and I watched the whole thing. He had rolls of this shit. I just couldn't put it all on one TikTok. He had a whole city. He designed an entire city ran by the same thing that was going to operate this discopter. Free energy, a whole city that ran off this shit. And these vehicles that would take over cars and transportation. He met with the Pentagon, had several meetings. In one meeting, they told him they liked it and they was moving forward. They just wanted to hear more and make sure that it was workable. That was in the first meeting. So they set up a series of meetings where he kept meeting with them and breaking down this thing to the United States Army and the Pentagon. And thinking, because he wasn't well off, thinking this is about to solve his financial problems. He was somebody that, as an architect, had just really been overlooked. And so this was like the thing that was going to get him on. Air propulsion. And he had it broken down in such a way it was flawless. They called him up and told him, we think we're gonna just keep it moving. After thinking about it a little while, that shit whack as hell, it ain't gonna work. And then imagine sitting at the house, drunk and depressed, because you just got screwed by the United States government, and then you see something on television about an invasion of some creatures in a vehicle. That's exactly what you drew for the military. Now, how did the aliens get your plans? You didn't meet with no aliens. You met with the fucking Pentagon. But a year and a half later, the thing that you shared with them is alleged to have come from a different planet with a different species on it. You know that's not fucking possible. So what are you saying, Todd? They never tell the truth. They didn't go to the moon. But then it wasn't because of technology purposes. It was because they didn't want them to see what was actually up there. I keep telling y'all, the moon was not here when this planet was created. It's not a natural part of planet Earth. It was brought here. Now, what we have to understand is, if there's no leaving the planet, then whatever is here flying those fucking ships been here. And if whatever's been here flying those fucking ships, that means they didn't wait till just now to take over your fucking government. Either they been took it over or they are your government. Let's stop making options where there are none. We haven't explored the option that the government is the fucking aliens. Why haven't we explored that option? We talk about reptilians. We talk about shapeshifters. We talk about something ain't right. We talk about pedophile rings. We talk about eating children. You think these fucking people are human? You think it's human nature to have pedo rings allegedly all over the planet? You think that's human behavior? We're talking about rituals where they're sacrificing shit, pouring blood into cups and drinking it. You think that's fucking normal for humans? Who's drinking the blood? Who's stealing the kids? We know for a fact millions of children come up missing every year. Nobody's looking for them. Why? But you're looking for aliens. They can tell you about other species on other planets. They can tell you, goddamn, what's going on Saturn. They can tell you what happened millions of years ago with Jesus. They can tell you every fucking thing, but anything relevant about what's actually happening right now. You know the rings on Saturn are depleting, but you don't know where the fucking drones are coming from. I told you, and I told y'all the same thing with the fucking hot air balloon and all of this other shit. They watched the hot air balloon for like a week or some shit. I don't know how long. I'm exaggerating. 3-4 days. Why? Why wasn't the hot air balloon shot down soon as it entered United States airspace? If it came from another country, you mean to tell me it entered U.S. airspace? Nobody knew what it was, and nobody found out for 2-3 days. Just saw it on the news as a balloon. Oh. They don't never have no answer for real fucking questions. So we have to deduct. You got 2 options. I'll give you a third one just for the fuck of it. The third one being the lightest. Your government is being held hostage by aliens. Your government is the fucking aliens. Or there's no such thing. But you can't have all three. You literally got to pick one. Because somebody's flying them fast-ass planes. And now we're looking at the aerodynamics, and they're telling us that those things move faster than anything humans have. Then where the fuck are they coming from? See, you can't keep fucking playing games with intelligent people. If they're moving faster than anything humans have, then where the fuck did we get them? Because you can't come from out there and you can't come from down there. I told y'all, let them lie and pick the lie apart. We know you ain't coming from Nibiru when Nibiru is exploded. You're not coming from any other planet through the fucking ocean. And there's a fucking dome here. Now, I will humor y'all. I'll humor you. Let's just say there's not a dome here. You cannot fly onto another planet unannounced. And somebody else said, well, they got stealth and their technology was so advanced it got past ours. Okay, I'll give you that. Their technology was so advanced it got past ours. So how long are we going to watch these fuckers before somebody grow some testicles, fly your ass out there and see what the fuck they want? Why we keep just letting them hover around? 2 weeks ago, they was hovering over the White House. And nothing got shot out the sky? They're playing games with y'all, with us. Nothing's flying through no motherfucking planet Earth airspace and not having an answer. Do you honestly think, just like they talk about they colonizing Mars, honestly think these weak motherfuckers who can't even handle people on their own planet, they scared of Putin, but they're going to Mars ready to colonize? With what weaponry? You trying to say they've explored the entire Mars? Who the fuck is defending these planets? See, they're giving you a dumbass illusion that you could just go to any planet and colonize it. That's because they want you to think there's nobody but you. So why the fuck are all these planets here if nobody's on them? Just waiting to be colonized. Earth is the youngest, but everybody's dead on all the other planets. But then they admit that there's other species. But this shit gets confusing. Which one is it? And if there's other planets, then you cannot just go to them. Hi, we're from planet Earth. We want to have your resources. It doesn't. Can you go to another country and do that? You think countries are more organized than planets? Can you go to another country and just set up shop, do whatever you fuck you want to? Put an American flag. Go to the park in Russia. Go to the biggest park they got in Russia, or one of their national monuments. Pull in there with a fleet of people with U.S. flags all on your shit. Y'all pull in, goddamn it, a couple hundred deep with U.S. flags everywhere. Go to one of the national monuments in Russia and drop the U.S. flag in the soil and say, "What nobody here, so it's ours." See, don't Putin blow you bitches off the planet? Come on, man, think. If you can't go to a country and just set up shop, you can't go to a planet and just do it. So that means all of this hoopla about colonizing other planets is trash. Remember, Earth is not that old. All of these planets are much older. So with our primitive ass technology, how are we colonizing planets that are more advanced than us? Y'all not thinking. So that means they're lying. And there's always a reason to lie. The one thing I hate the most is when people say, well, why would I lie? I ain't got no reason to lie. Get the fuck out of here. Everybody got a reason to lie. That's why you told the motherfucker. Nobody lied just because I'm bored. You lie because you want a motherfucker to believe what you're saying. That's why you would lie. I hate that stupid ass question. So now, when we think about it that way, it's getting simpler and simpler. The longer we have, that's why you got to have a conversation with your family. You can't go down, you can't go up to enter the planet. So anybody here had to be here already. Okay, so now that leaves us with the options of whatever we're considering alien is either already been here, doesn't exist, or your government is the aliens. Now, if we go with the theory and say that another species infiltrated the government, okay. How long ago? We're talking a few decades, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago? Now, I know it's way longer than that. But a lot of people like this. It happened with Roswell 70 years ago. Fuck it, I'll give you 70 years. 70 years ago, the aliens invaded. What they've been doing for 70 years? 70 years, they started negotiating with the government. What's that been like for 70 years? See what I'm saying? None of these shits make sense. Because no more advanced species is going to be negotiating shit. So if they came here 70 years ago, it's 70 years later they run this bitch. At whatever point they got here, they now are in control. Why would you work alongside of a bunch of idiots in toupees? Like, I don't want to work with them now, and I'm from here. People from here don't want to work with people. So, like, no advanced civilization is going to come see how stupid they are and not conquer them. You see how much we've technologically advanced within 100 years. Y'all don't understand. In 100 years, we went from a horse and carriage in less than 100 years. Shit, what am I talking about? 100 years. Yeah. The 20s. What was driving in the 20s? We still doing horses and shit in the 20s. 1900s, that's 100 years. We went from horses to cars that park themselves. And they say no other civilization has ever done that. So look at it this way. Go remove this 100 years from the equation and then look at every other 100 years. 100 years, horse and carriage, horse and carriage, horse and bigger carriage, horse and luxury carriage, horse and carriage, horse and luxury carriage. That's all you got for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's horse and carriage, horse and carriage, horse and carriage. Then all of a sudden, you go from horse and carriage. Then you got 100-year span where you go from horse and carriage to cars that park themselves. Why? Something's happening. We all know that. What we're trying to figure out is who and what. And I'm going to tell you, you can't not look at the government. The government is definitely intertwined in this. But I'm going to go and stop speculating. And I'm going to tell you, now that we did all this ring around the rosy, here's what I think. Since you asked me, I'm going to tell you. No, nobody asked me shit, but whatever. You're here, so you asked me. No, okay. I'm not one of those ones who believe there's no such thing as aliens. Now, I'm a lot smarter than to use that word. This is just for conversation with my family. I know alien is anything foreign to a place. So anything could be an alien. Y'all know what we're talking about. We're talking about extraterrestrials. Now, this planet used to be called Terrestis. So extraterrestrials, extra is something additional. So anything outside of Terrestis would be considered extraterrestrial. So we're talking about beings from another planet. Are they on our planet or not? For that matter, do we believe that other beings actually exist regardless, whatever planet they are? I'm a firm believer in the fact that we don't have all of those planets for nothing. I don't believe that. I don't believe that there aren't life forms on other planets because I think that's a waste of a fucking planet. I also don't think there's a bunch of fucking circles in the middle of nowhere either. I don't buy that bullshit. However, planets in the term that you're thinking are space stations. And what I mean by that is no one can leave this dome. So that's why you can see other planets because they're all here inside of the dome. Now, you can go from one space station to the next, which is what they do. And then they show you a holographic exterior. That's the circle that you look at through your telescope. That's just a hologram. There's no spinning balls in the middle of nowhere. Now, the thing is this right here. If the planets are so accessible for travel, why isn't there a back and forth? Why is this secrecy to where we don't want to mingle with other planets? That's not logical. Why aren't we open to interplanetary trade? So there have to be, at some point, other planets attempting to interact with us. The problem is this right here. What if, when we look at this bloodline thing, Now they got something called the Sumerians Kings List. And if you do some digging, and I've done a show on this, you can trace the Sumerian Kings List all the way to present day Rothschilds, Hitler, Rockefellers, all of them, that blood lineage, you can trace that lineage all the way up through Egypt, all the way through Europe, all the way to current day. Now we're starting to make more sense when we say, now let's think about what we've covered so far. All of these different empires all got the same structure, pass it down through the family. And no matter, they could be hundreds of years apart, civilizations that never even knew each other, but they would have some type of dragon or serpent or snake to identify themselves. Why is this? And I know y'all talking about snakes is from where's, okay, somebody had to start that. And when you look at a snake, you do not be thinking, oh, he's so wise. Who the fuck was the first person that looked at a snake and was like, oh my God, he's wise? That's not your first. So that comes from somewhere. Now, I find it bigger than a coincidence that you have all of this snake worship all throughout history. And then you got this speculation of a serpent race who came to the planet around the same time as the Sumerian shit. We got to stop looking at coincidences and being dismissive. There's something here. There's something here. There's something here. Now, all throughout society, throughout the decades, throughout the centuries, we've seen almost every civilization at some point participate in ritual sacrifice and blood rituals. Now, how do reptilians feel about blood? This is an animalistic behavior that we're looking at. We're looking at a lot of abductions and pedophilia. But let's go deeper though. What's at the core of pedophilia? Energy. Because the most condensed form of energy that exists is within your bloodstream. So we already talked about this last week with the Dracula thing. If I scare the shit out you, and then at the height of your fear, I make you bleed, that particular blood is different than just your normal blood. That's what they call adrenochrome. That's fear-induced blood. It's an extreme high potency of energy. It's a drug. Now, that is pure life form. The reason why children is because by the time you're an adult, you drink, you drug, you fornicate, you lie. Everything you do is condemned. If you're a liar, that's in your energy. If you fornicate, that's in your energy. You drink, all of that is in your energy. So if somebody is consuming your energy, it's what they call toxic. What y'all say all the time, that person toxic. They got bad energy. I don't want to be around it. Okay, that's a real thing. So imagine if I was drinking your energy and it was toxic. But if you're only under 5, you haven't been contaminated with anything. That's pure energy. Now, you're going to terrify the shit out of a child way more than an adult. So the level of fear in that bloodstream, in that pure energy, if you into that sort of thing, it's better than heroin mixed with crack. So all I'm saying is look at the planet and then form your analysis. Separative thinking, I talk about all the time. They got us thinking in so many different pockets, we can't connect the dots. And we look at them at all separate things. But tonight, let's just pull it all into one. All into one thing. You can't go down, you can't go up. So anything that's on the planet been here already. We look at the behavior on the planet and we can see there's always been slavery and ritual sacrifice and blood rituals. There's always been slavery, ritual sacrifice, and blood rituals. Why? Then we got to go back to this story that we heard about these reptilians that came. Now, fast forward to modern day. They're admitting that certain parts of our government are in contact with another species. They haven't said who the species is. So, everything on the planet has some type of connection to serpents and reptiles. Every regime. Then we've watched bloodline after bloodline after bloodline rule. Now you get to the United States and you think it's supposed to be different. But then we find out the United States is also a bloodline nation. So you have to ask yourself, if every United States president except for 2 have been cousins, what the fuck do y'all vote for every 4 to 8 years? It's impossible for that to be a real election, which means the same people have always been in control of the United States of America. Who are those people? What's the #1 religion of the United States of America? Christianity. What does it teach? About a supernatural being that was sacrificed ritualistically, and to commemorate that sacrifice, you adorn your body with the dead bloody corpse, and every Sunday you drink his blood and eat his flesh. Since when did human beings drink blood and eat flesh? I don't care who it's from. Because it's Jesus, it's okay to drink blood. But then you got people in that same book sacrificing to God. Why does God want blood? Doesn't matter how you spin it. God wants to see. No. It's food. However you spin it. God does not want you to cut a goat's throat, drop its blood, and say some words to him. For what? What is God gaining from you killing cattle? That is someone who needs energy. God doesn't need your energy. God is energy. So that's someone else requesting the blood go into the ground. That's someone who does not have a concern for the planet and thinks the planet is not alive. The planet is a living entity. So let's just think about this. If the planet is alive, when men get on a battlefield and slaughter a couple thousand bodies, and all of that murder and trauma and blood is on the soil of the planet, and we call the planet a female, Mother Earth. So when a mother has to absorb the blood of her dead children for millenniums, what do you think that does to the mother? And why wouldn't godly entities understand that? So who's really controlling your government? Because I see this blood drinking has always been in the play, no matter who you talk about doing it. So now we have to be honest. The very people that you're worried about are the people who are telling you this is what you need to worry about. Governments put it to you this way. We already talked about entering airspace. Come on, y'all. Show some love. Hit the like, hit the share. We cooking. We already talked about entering other people's airspace. Drones are being flying all around suspicious places. How come ain't none of them got shot down yet? Let's just say this was some type of an attack. Okay. Let's say I started the attack on Monday. Put a couple drones here, a couple drones there. I see it on the news. Whoever's doing this has got to be somewhere watching for the results. So I see the results. Okay, we stirring the pot up. So now I do it again on Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm watching. Oh. Wednesday, what's going to happen is this. Every time I look on the news and see y'all panic and are clueless, I'm going to turn it up more. I see y'all panic, y'all. I'm going to keep turning up the... So, if I'm the government and I'm on defense, we just had an incident with the balloon. If you go on your notifications, I know everybody got the same notification talking about be careful using your iPhone and Android sending out messages because we got hackers. We had an incident where we got hacked by China, allegedly. And then we had an incident where we're into it with Russia. We got all of these incidents. We're trying to back Israel with Hamas. All of this shit going on. I know me in my days when I was really playing rough, I get nervous fast, fam. You be getting your ass blamed for sneezing around me on the wrong time. So I'm a nervous nigga. And I see drones flying around the White House. Knock them bitches down. Stop playing with us. They play with us with the balloon. I'm finna stop. Hamas think it's a game. I'm finna stop playing. Next drone you see, lift that bitch to the high heavens. Why nothing getting shot down? We're never seeing anything get shot down. None of that shit. Nobody's going out to ask no questions or none of that. Why? Why is everybody so calm? Everybody in charge is calm as hell. Where's the fucking president? When was the last? I hate that I got to be the one to even mention this, but it seems like y'all always make me the guy. When Nick Cannon went missing, y'all didn't give a fuck. I was the only one on the internet that noticed that they had snatched Nick Cannon ass up and they don't tell him what they did with him for 2 weeks. Brought him back and he was apologetic to white people. I don't know. But all I'm saying is, now, listen. I personally, his first term, I was going for Trump. I was all into Trump his first term. I don't give a fuck about him now, but in the beginning, I was really into him. And I argue with Negroes. I lost friends over Joe Biden. Y'all, when it was so many Negroes at the poll with Joe Biden, y'all took y'all cats and shit. Niggas was in line with their cats and dogs and shit. Now, your commander-in-chief, Sleepy Joe, Freaky Joe, Crazy Joe, whichever one you want to call him, that motherfucker is MIA. He ain't gave a speech since Kamala showed up drunk. I gave y'all a pass too. I felt it was petty. Because after she got her ass whooped allegedly, she got drunk as hell and started doing press conferences. Now, I could have poured salt in the wound, but I felt like it was a touchy space, so I let it go. But ever since Kamala showed her ass showed up drunk, we ain't seen Joe Biden. Now, I don't know if she got drunk and tied his old ass up somewhere, or I don't know what's going on with Joe. But I do know this. Putin has threatened us several times, said if we do anything sideways, he's going to fuck us up. Trump keep talking about what he going to do when he get in office, but they done tried to kill this bitch allegedly 17 times. Ain't no guarantee he going to make it. Kamala is drunk, and we can't find Joe Biden. Yet, this is still not enough motivation for the aliens to take over. Listen, if you're not willing to conquer a nation who can't find a president, and the vice president is a hussy alcoholic, if you don't think now is the time, you definitely don't want to wait till they actually let Trump in. This is a white man who's probably the color of one of y'all and ain't scared of nothing. Why would you, you know what? I didn't think about that. I've been going on record saying that I think the assassination on Donald Trump was fake. However, I never explored the possibility that maybe it was the aliens that tried to whack him. And since they don't know the planet that well, they've been watching for 70 years. But even though you've been watching for 70 years, they might not be familiar with that particular area. I'm going to give them the galactic benefit of the doubt and say the aliens tried to kill Trump. They didn't know the area that well. They fucked up. Maybe that's the deal right there. Because otherwise, I don't see no reason why the fuck you would let Trump get in office and just be flying drones around. And then you listen to Trump, he sounds like an old gangster. Yeah, the government knows. I don't know why they won't tell you, but they know. So Trump knows some shit too. Maybe I don't fucking know. Maybe y'all think he's super rich. Maybe Trump is in negotiation with the aliens and he just don't want to say nothing because he's waiting for Biden to fuck it up. And you know Kamala drunk? I don't know. I'm just it's so who's running this country? Oh wait, I know that. Nobody's running the country. Joe Biden is missing. Kamala Harris is clearly drunk. So at this point, we don't have a leader. The only person speaking on behalf of the country right now is a white boy who they want dead and ain't even in office yet. I think it's amazing that he's allowed to threaten people and he's not in office yet. That's kind of bogus. You sitting there talking tough, talking about when I get in office, this is what I'm gonna do. He basically starting a fight that he can't even like. For all of the threats that Trump making right now, what if somebody get pissed and bomb us like President Trump talking that shit? We're gonna blow y'all up. Like this is a nigga who not even in office picking fights. It should be like I don't know what the fucking, I don't know what's in the Constitution about that. It should be something in the Constitution that say before a nigga get in office, he can't say some shit that'll get us blown up. Because Trump is on the verge of nuclear war, and he ain't even sworn in. He went to war with the elites, Putin, pedos, everybody. And he ain't even in office yet. So, I don't know. But I do know this. Somebody lying. Now, I got one more thing that I didn't talk about, and we have to. Black Jesus, the Black Jesus hustle. I know you Negroes is falling for it, and it pains my heart to see such things. But let me explain something to you. I said at the beginning of the show I was going to go back here. I saved it for the end of the show because I know this is a touchy subject. Now, understand something. I gotta be careful with this. I gotta be real careful with this so that y'all understand what I'm saying. We got this ideology because we've been so wronged by white people that we think if it's black, it's good. And so we love to point out all of the flaws in white people, but we absolutely detest admitting the flaws in us. We hate to admit the fact that here in America, we have been under the control of the white man for roughly 600 years, somewhere in there. On record is 400, but about 600 years. Fuck it. You know what? I'll make it easy. 400 years. Fuck it. For the sake of this discussion. 400 years of colonization. And you think you don't behave like the people? The African American is the only race in history that 200 plus years after slavery still worships the same God as his ex-slave master. See, accountability works both ways. If we man enough to point out what's wrong with them, be man enough to point out what's wrong with us. Now, here's where the rubber meets the road. You have to be able to admit where we're wrong at. Because then you can deal with the why. But if you never admit to being wrong, you can't deal with the why. When you look at the behavior of the quote unquote African American, we do almost everything exactly like the European. And it's because we have not studied the European that we don't understand it's the same behavior. There is a moment in American history. Let's go around pre-segregation. So they say slavery was abolished in 1865. We know that's a lie on paper. It didn't actually start to really take precedent until 1890 is when you start to see black folks moving kind of freely around the country. Okay, so now you have at that point people who just was released from slavery. We are terrified of white people and really kind of fidgety being able to move freely. We were so brainwashed, and they don't talk about this. When slavery initially was abolished, do y'all realize that there were certain plantations where black folks wouldn't leave? Some slave masters kept their plantations for so long because the black folks didn't want to leave. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but it was the way they did it. And it was done like this on purpose so that they wouldn't have to actually relinquish power. There was no integration plan. There was no plan of integration. It was just like, you niggas free now. Where we supposed to go? I don't know. Figure it out. So niggas just walked off the plantation with their belongings like, where the fuck we going? So certain niggas was like, I'm not going out there. And certain niggas knew like, that's a trap. We not, now they're going to catch us and hang us. So my point is, as we start to integrate into society, we have a point to prove. They wrote up in their dictionary that the word nigger means ignorant. Now they took naga, which was a term of royal endearment, and they made it into nigger, something negative, and put it in a dictionary. Now, we don't like that word, but were we ignorant to this culture? Yeah. We couldn't read and write for the most part. Didn't understand nothing but what they told us. We're foreigners. Now, and for those of us who wasn't foreigners, you still don't speak the language. It's a whole new language and way of being. So now, either way it go, Now you got to think about that. So now, with no know-how and no ability, and being stigmatized as being ignorant, it became our goal to educate ourselves. So if you go to like that Denzel Washington movie, The Great Debaters or whatever, and you see during them time period how it was always about black folks trying to fight to be seen as equally intelligent as white kids. So they had spelling bees and debates where white kids would normally shine and black kids had to prove themselves. That whole thing. So it became a stigma to not want to be looked at as ignorant. So being black and educated became our primary focus in America, being black and educated. And we had daddies who was super hard on us because they had just came out of slavery. So dads back there didn't play with no back talking, no nothing. You got your ass tore up. So my point is, what's being raised during that time in Black America is real Americans. Polite, respectful, willing to work hard and earn what they got. Not about education. Honor to the fact that we actually can go to school and learn now. When you've been deprived education for hundreds of years, now you can go somewhere to learn. You want to sit down and absorb it all. So you don't have any problematic black people in America. So what changed to the black Americans you see now when our origins here was wanting to be better educated and not be viewed as a nigger? What happened? That's what we got to deal with. We were changed into something else intentionally. We have to honor what that something else is and stop acting like it didn't happen. They slowly, systematically turned us into what you see now. It didn't happen overnight. They put 400 years of pressure on us to make us this way. So we got to stop pretending we're not fucked up. We are. But there's two sides to that coin. You can't blame white folks for something that you won't admit exists. So if we're going to blame them and say what they did to us, we have to admit what it actually did to us. We can't be mad at them without accepting our role in what we allowed to happen. It was wrong in a motherfucker, but it worked, and we got to deal with the fact that it actually worked. Stop being mad at white folks for some shit we can't admit to. We are fucked up right now. Now, here come the underlay for the overplay. I've been telling y'all for years they was about to do this, and it's about to happen. When you look at our initial education in this country, the first education for Black Americans was Christian school. The first time they ever educated us was in a Bible school, not in regular reading, writing. No. Church was the first classroom. So you started out as Christians with a white Jesus on the wall. This is very important because every other race has a deity that looks like them. Until you get to Black America, then our deity looks exactly like any slave master. And you notice they got him in different phases. In any one of those Jesus phases, you can find a Jesus that looked like a slave master. That was done intentionally. That was done intentionally. Now, through Christianity, they were able to conquer the Western world with this belief system. That doesn't make it true. It makes it conquest. You think God ordained a brutal conquest? Because they did this using Jesus. They conquered this planet using the name of Jesus. The Lord and Savior, the Son of the God, is what they told you. But everywhere Christianity has ever been, its leaders have assaulted women and children repeatedly. Every single time, no exceptions. There is never a place that Christianity has been on this planet where the women and children haven't suffered and the men haven't become slaves. Not one time. You think God ordained that? So now, here we go. You think the big secret is all of this manipulation, all of this bloodshed, murder, all of this. You think the big secret is Jesus is black. Oh, they called us. That's it. Party over. We know that. We got them. The thing that they've been doing and using to enslave us and capture, all of that. The big secret was Jesus is black. Jesus was always black in their story. The picture was just of a white guy. You just never read the story. The reason why you're so excited about this black Jesus is because you never read the story. So now that white folks are admitting to it, you feel some kind of way. You feel good. See, that's the shackles of slavery still on you. Every time white folks admit to something that you already know, it makes you feel better. Why? You already knew it. You already knew Jesus was black. But somehow, in your mind, if Jesus is black, that makes Christianity right. Because, of course, black folks are always right. Okay. Well, then what is your problem with Africans? If black folks is always right and Jesus is black, what is your problem with Africans? Because most of y'all profess to have a problem with Africans. And if Jesus was black, he was African. And then y'all play these games because you don't study. You say, no, he wasn't African. He was from the Middle East. There was no such thing as the Middle East. The Middle East was African territory. When the Europeans took over, they called it the Middle East. Prior to European domination, there was no fucking Middle East. That was all Africa. So anything in the Middle East was African. So if Jesus was from the Middle East, he was African. But y'all don't like Africans. But you want to push this Jesus was black narrative. Okay, let's make them black. What does that change? What is different if Jesus was black than if he was white? What makes that different for you? Do you believe Christianity is right now because he's black? Does that take away all the murder, genocide, pedophilia, and rape that has happened under the name of Christianity? Does that erase that because Jesus is black? We start over with a clean slate now? The assaults, the pedophilia, none of that shit matters because Jesus is black now. They enslaved you for 400 plus years under a black guy's name. That make you feel better? Then you go to King James is black. So that make y'all feel better. That means now, is he still a homosexual weirdo that had his mother killed or not? I don't understand. Is his mother still Mary of Scotland that got her fucking head cut off? Is he still the guy that was so fucking weird he had a secret chamber so he could sneak boys into his room? Does that change that? Because we got this whole story from somebody named James who was a super fucking weirdo around the same time as the black guy y'all talking about. So if we switch it to the black guy, what does that actually mean? All right, we throwing Jesus out. He's no longer a white guy, he's a black guy. Does that erase all the people that got murdered and enslaved under his name? And if him being a black guy makes such a big deal, why didn't someone from a divine state come stop this madness? How is it the only way that you found out about Jesus is through the guys who are raping and robbing you? So if the European never came and dominated Native American soil and African soil, we would know about Jesus. So if that's the case, he saved us. Shouldn't the white guy be our hero? What is our problem with white people, if that's the case? Because if going off what y'all believe, without the white guy, we would have never found this black Jesus. So I'm just going to take a stab in the dark. I wonder if the numbers on Christianity are failing. It went from 97% in the 18th century, 17th or 18th century. It was at a 90% increase ratio. In 2002, it was at a 64% decline ratio. So 65% of the world, only 65% or 64% of the world give a shit about Christianity. What do the rest of the world believe? And what happened? I don't know. But who have been the biggest supporters in Christianity? Us, melanated people. I wonder if melanated people are losing interest in Christianity. Because melanated people in America make up the largest Christian base at 77%. So if that's the case, if we're 77% of the Christians and Christianity is on a decline, what does that mean statistically speaking? That means statistically speaking, within the last 100 years, Black people have increasingly, in overwhelming numbers, lost interest in Christianity. So isn't it a coincidence that soon as Black folks are at the highest point of not caring about Christianity that they ever have been historically? Oh, wait, Jesus was Black. Look, niggas, look. We got, no, for real though. We was just playing with the white dude with the blonde hair, blue eyes, for real. Y'all know we was playing. No, for real, he Black. He look just like your uncle now. Why now? Where there's smoke, there's fire. Then y'all fell for Putin came out. Look, we found in the vault in Russia, we found a bunch of nigga Jesuses. Look. Russia is Orthodox Christian, aka white people. They don't believe in a Black Jesus. They completely resent the ideal. So then why did Putin do it? And now they got Donald Trump talking about he's gonna start reparations in 2025, and they're lying to the black people about religion. Oh, wait a minute. Am I the same guy a few years back that told y'all they're about to blacken everything, give you the illusion of inclusion, and that's when they really gonna start pulling it? Didn't I say that? Oh, and as far as, let's go back to the whole black and white thing, the point I was trying to drive in. There's a scene that you can look up on YouTube. Google Pope meets black dignitaries. I think that's what it is. YouTube it. The Pope is in the back room with a bunch of black dudes, African dudes. They in black and purple. When they walk in the room, he go on his knees and start kissing their feet. Understand something, brethren. And I hate to say this, but I'm not here to tell you what make you feel good. I'm here to tell you the truth. This is a melanated planet. The closer you get to who's really in charge, everybody on this planet is being used to play a part. There's only one particular two groups on this planet that know exactly what's going on. The people pulling it and the people about to stop them. That's it. Everybody else is being used, manipulated, and lied to. Is race an issue? Hell, motherfucking yeah. Have white people done horrific, heinous, atrocious shit? Hell yes. Have they done it to us? Hell motherfucking yes. Did we assist? Hell motherfucking yes. And are they being controlled by something other than white people? Hell motherfucking yes. That's the point of this whole video. If you think that the little short, pudgy white guy with the fucking hair piece missing and can't get laid unless he pays for it, but he's got a lot of money, and if you think that guy is actually who's calling the shots, then you just don't know enough. He's being used because he's a white guy. And that's scientific. The calcified pineal gland thing. That's a direct conversation with God. In ancient Egypt, they used to call the pineal gland. That's why you got that thing they call the IRA, the backwards R with the little I on it. That's the IRA. But when you look at the IRA, it's really in the shape of your pineal gland. You could take that, turn it sideways, and put it up against right here, and it would fit perfectly. They used to call that the seat of God. That's where all your intelligence is at, and that's where you have a direct connection to the God. Okay. Everything inside of your head is melanated. The inside of your brain is also melanated for all races. But when you get to white people in the pineal gland, it is not have the same level of melanation, and it's decalcified. It doesn't have calcium. It's not connecting you to the higher consciousness. So when you have that, two things you have to do. Someone put that there intentionally, because that's not the way people were created with a defective connection to God. That was placed there for someone by a reason. Why? My guess would be the same people that took the albino gene and created a race with it had a plan. We're all being used for something. So, are we trying to figure this thing out? Or are we trying to complain? If we figure this thing out, then we realize that the other species that we've been talking about for 2 hours and some change, that's who's got the real fucking power. Everybody else is following orders. Black Jesus is a hustle. Because soon as you hear black, in your mind it means good. Because when you harmed a people, put it on an individual base. When a person has been taken advantage of so many times, it makes them skeptical of everything. When a person has thought a certain way for so long, it makes them unable to see outside of their thought process. And so this is what we've become victim of. We've been victimized so much that all we want is to get back to those that we know victimized us. So right across the board from us is white people. That's who we've always seen as our oppressor. I get it. Now that we know what white people have done, you motherfucking right, we're going to hold their ass accountable. I also need to know why. What was the goal? Who's really pulling the strings? That's what I'm into. I'm not into my emotions. I'm a Scorpio. I'm emotional as fuck. So I can't think like that. I have to really think logical. What's really going on? And when I look at what's really going on, there's no way. There's no way the white people that we look at that we're mad at today, there's no way that they were able to do this without some type of assistance. Because they can't keep it. They can't control it. If this was their ingenuity, it would be going a lot smoother. This is the work of somebody following instructions and frequently fucking it up. So when we see this black Jesus, it's coming from people who need a victory for one, and people who haven't really read the Bible. Because if you really read the Bible and dissect this character Jesus, he was not a good guy. I don't give a fuck whether he was black or white. He was not the good guy. But y'all haven't read the story. You've had it read to you. You've had it told to you. And so you're fixated on a certain ideology and you're not able to have an open mind. But when you read the story, for one, it's a lot of fucked up shit in there. For two, where did the story come from? Y'all keep overlooking that. Rome created this Jesus story. Before Rome, there was no Jesus. Why don't y'all get that? There was no man on the planet named Jesus Christ before Rome. You had Serapis, not Jesus, Serapis, which was the Greek version. That was what was originally in the Trinity, not Jesus Christ. It was Serapis. The Romans turned it into Jesus. But it's not a Roman religion. It's a Jewish religion. See, we got to know our history. Rome went to war with the Jews, beat their ass, and stole their literature. Then they took the literature, revamped it, and put it out. Those initial first stories about Jesus was about a ruler. There's been several sons of God throughout history, especially in Rome. There's been hundreds of virgin births throughout history. These are stories. But if you want to connect it to a person, ask yourself the $1 million question. Where was he at for 17 years and why won't they talk about it? Why won't they tell you where the most important man in the history of the planet was at for 17 years? Why is there no book about that? Why is there no holy scriptures about 17 missing years of his life? All we got is speculation. Why? Maybe something was happening in those 17 years that they don't want you to know about. And then he pops up out of the blue and starts preaching. And in that preaching, he manages to make sure he tells you, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Pay your taxes. Treat your government, obey your government like you would obey God. The Jews were in a treacherous war with Rome. Rome had been bleeding the world with taxes. Rome's thing was heavy taxation. They was taxing the shit out of everybody. That's how they got so rich. And Jesus was telling you, pay your taxes. Jesus was telling you, obey your government the same way you would obey me. Why would Jesus tell you to obey the Roman government? And if Jesus came here to die for your sins, how can you still go to hell? You got to think, brethren. You got to think. If Jesus came here to die for your sins, there is no sin. There is no hell. Why is there still a devil and a hell? What was the point? Why send your son here to die, to remove sin, but you still can burn in hell if you fuck? It doesn't make sense. And if the whole purpose of Jesus was coming here to die for your sins, why the fuck did he look up and say, why hast thou forsaken me, when he's getting his ass hung up? He been preaching to the disciples, I'm finna go pave the way. They coming to get me. He told them the night before, they're gonna lock me up. He didn't say nothing about the naked boy he was with, but he told you, they're gonna lock my ass up. So he knew they were coming. Why did he look up and say, he said to God, he prayed, and he said, if there's any way, the night before at the Last Supper, when he went to go pray, he said, if there's any way, remove this cup from me. He didn't want to die. He been preaching every single day that he's gonna go. Now it's the night before, and the nigga get cold feet. Talking about, hey, I don't want to do it. Can you save me, Father? Help. If he died for your sins, why is there still sin? Not only that, if Rome is who killed the son of the God, why the fuck is Rome still in power? Nothing got accomplished. He came and was sacrificed by Rome. It's been pretty much 2,000 years. We're 9 years short of 2,000 years since Christ was crucified. No, actually, well, whatever. if that's the case, why did nothing happen? Rome never got punished. There was no fall of Rome when the Pope got fucking gold ceilings. And the Pope has got a telescope named Lucifer. It's safe to say Jesus didn't accomplish a motherfucking thing. He came here, he preached all kind of shit, then they caught him, he begged for his life, and he died. And after he died, nothing changed. Nothing fucking changed. Rome went on to rule for 600 years after that. After the death of Jesus, Rome stayed in power for 600 more years, according to what they tell us. The reality is Rome is still in power. But according to what they tell us, Rome was in power for 600 more years. What did Jesus accomplish? Let's fast forward. Let's look at the world in the last 2,000 years. War, murder, pedophilia, rape, blah, blah, nothing. It's got worse. It is 10 times worse than it was in the Jesus days. While claiming to be more civilized, it's worse. So what the fuck did Buddy do? If you're looking at this objectively, God sent his only child here to do nothing. Die, don't set no examples, beg for his life, and then nothing changed. The story doesn't make sense according to what they're telling us. So at some point, we got to say, wait a minute. If none of his accomplishments actually happened, if nothing actually was made better because of him, then why does it matter whether he was black or not? Because the reason why y'all want him to be black, so you can have a sense of self. See, we the displaced child. We don't know who we are, where we from. So every time we hear something great, we want to latch on to it. Now we're hearing Jesus was black. Okay. What does that change? It doesn't change the history that we experience. We experienced a world being colonized, a white world being colonized. No, a black world being made white under the guise of a white Jesus. Why was this allowed if he was an actual figure? Why was they allowed to play with him like this? Where's this wrath at? The biblical God said, everything about man is wicked, and he regretted creating them. We eat babies and burn people alive and bury people alive for pieces of paper. You actually think there's a place worse than this that you're going to? If there's a place worse than this that you end up, you're a real fucked up individual. I'm just going to say it. There's no way you actually serve the real God and you think when you die, there's a chance of you going somewhere worse than this. What the fuck have you done that you ain't telling us about? Why the fuck are y'all so scared of hell? I've done a real fair amount of wrong, and I know I'm not going to no fucking hell. Burning for eternity, eternally at odds with God. That's what y'all fear? That means y'all living real fucked up that you think this is even a possibility. This story shouldn't scare anyone. But you have to have a hero and a bad guy. So you got this Satan character, and you got this Jesus character. And they're battling it out. But no one ever wins. We hear all the time, What happened to Jesus? How come we got no stories of anything bad ever happening to Satan? If you follow the story, since he got kicked out of hell, heaven, he ain't had no problems. His punishment for getting kicked out of heaven was he gets to control 2 realms. He gets to control the hell realm, and he can manipulate the entire planet at will. So he controls 2 realms. And he is the eternal enemy of God. So when God is pissed off at you, he sends you to his enemy and allows his enemy to punish you. Do y'all even listen to these fucking stories, or you just digest them? I'll say this again. God's eternal enemy is Satan. And so when God is pissed off at you, he sends you to Satan and allows Satan the right to torture you, however he see fit. So Satan's entire business is punishing people that God don't like. Wait a minute, I thought y'all wasn't on the same side. But he's also corrupting people. So he gets to corrupt people and make God not like you. He gets to corrupt people and then make God not like you. And then once he corrupts people and make God not like them, then God sends those people back to him. This shit is a great deal. He can't go wrong. My reward for getting kicked out of the most sacred place in existence is I get to torture guys for the guy that I'm mad at. Not only do I get to torture them, I get to first turn them into fuck-ups that won't commit to him, and as their punishment for not committing to him, does that dislike of human part come from the Torah? You can go to the Torah. Torah and the Tanakh is basically the same thing. When you're dealing with the devil within himself, he is alleged with having a fall from grace because of I'll read what you said, Mama. He has a fall from grace because he refused to accept humans. So he had an issue that was supposedly why he corrupted him at the tree. He didn't like the relationship between God and the humans. And so this is supposed to be the entire reason for his rebellion. And so I'm just saying, if he is the one in charge of corrupting the planet, and then once he corrupts the planet, he turns people, he ruins the relationship between humans and God. So once you get corrupted by Satan, that ruins the relationship between you and God. You start doing evil. As a result of your doing evil, God banishes you to hell. Well, the only reason why you're going to hell is because Satan was allowed to corrupt you in the first place. So why is he allowed to corrupt you and then punish you for the corruption that he created in the first place? It's a revolving door for him. There's no losing situation. So it's almost like this is not a punishment. Being banished to the point where I get to control 2 worlds and still work for God. There's no, how does this equate? So now you bring Jesus into the picture. And now Jesus is supposed to stop this process. He's supposed to intervene on this process. So apparently God doesn't see any other way to deal with the corruption of man, according to the Bible, the biblical God rather, doesn't see any way else to deal with the corruption of man. So then he decides, okay, well, since I can't stop man from being corrupted, I drowned the entire planet before, that didn't work. For some reason, they just are fucking flawed. So I'll try something else. I'm going to take myself and put myself in the human form as my son. And then I'm going to allow my son to be murdered. Therefore, his divine blood will erase away the sins of mankind. So after Jesus is crucified for the sin, remember, he loved you so much that he sent his only begotten son to die for your sins. Okay. If he's dying for your sins, that should have killed the devil. There should be no more devil. Because once Jesus died for your sins, that should be the ultimate counter for the devil. There's no more sin. So that means the devil can't corrupt anybody, the end. However, 2,000 years later, the devil first killed him. Obviously, you have to be corrupted by the devil to be able to kill the Son of God. There's got to be somebody that the devil corrupted. So he gets to kill God's son, and the world gets worse. Meaning anyone non-Hebrew is non-human. No, I don't. Hebrew is more of a ideology than an actuality, because during the antiquity, there was no such term as a Hebrew. That's a more modernized term. There wasn't even a Israel. You can tell when because the Israelites, which they call the Hebrews, look at their name. It's Isis, Ra, El. This is all Egyptian. 2 Egyptian names and a Saturnian name is what a composite of these Hebrew Israelites is. There's a dude named Joseph Ehudu, and it's hard to get this book. This book costs like $800, or between $800 and $1,200. It's called From Hebrew to Greek. I used to have it on a PDF, but he breaks down Hebrew and Greek and puts them side by side, and then you can find out that the Hebrew language was created by Greeks. There was no Hebrews. These are Canaanites. Canaan was conquered and controlled by Egypt. So what we're calling Jews, meaning anyone non-Hebrew, same thing. What we're calling Jews is Canaanites. So the Canaanites were scattered because of conquest. Canaan got separated, and when Canaan split up, they went in different areas. Now, when the Jews conquered Egypt, remember, Egypt had already conquered Canaan. So when the Jews conquered Egypt, they conquered the Canaanites, who had been in Egypt for years, and they got the Egyptians. So now that's why people always say Christianity stole from Egypt. No, Christianity was created in Egypt. It just wasn't called Christianity. It was created by Greeks. So what you have is you have the Persians. Egypt conquered the Canaanites. The Persians conquered Egypt. So now the Persians have control of Egypt and the Canaanites. So Greek and Egypt are friends. So the Egyptians called to the Greeks for help. They sent a message out to tell the Greeks to come help. So Alexander and them, they was allies. Alexander and them come to help. They beat the shit out the Persians. So now once you beat the Persians, you got Persia, the Canaanites, and the Egyptians all in one wop is what the Greeks got. Now, once they realized what they had, they decided we're not giving it back. So the way they conquered Egypt was they came to help and never left. But at this point, it gives them control of Persian culture, which was like the flyers culture, fine fabrics and all that shit. And then you get spirituality from the Canaanites and the Egyptians. Now the Canaanites is being schooled by the Egyptians. So the Greeks conquer all of that. They later become Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, much later because they get colonized, a language gets created, blah, 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 blah. So that's where the Hebrew thing comes from. Originally, there was no Hebrews. So anything human is really a simple term. The first hue means color. Being, human being. So this is a color man being, melanated. So if you was to go from another planet and they say, what planet are you from? You say, I'm from planet Earth. Well, what species is there? You would say this is the planet of the human beings. So that would mean the planet of the colored man. Everything other than this is an offspring of us. You have to remember in the beginning, a lot of lab experiments. Since we on some extraterrestrial shit tonight, the conquerors are scientists. So why you see so many different species on planet Earth, that's unusual. To have one planet with this many different species on it, that's not normal. That's because of hybridization and experimentation. So they've nuked the melanated man and woman so many different times and crossbred it with so many different animals. That's why you got all these different races and species and shit here. But realistically, what was here originally was the prototype of what looks like the African. Much more darker complexion, and they show you Osiris in the ancient times as green because it was a greenish black originally. The original human beings that was first here didn't come from here, and they were more of a greenish black. So you have this planet has always been hybridization and slavery programs. So the what we call it, the Hebrews, is just another. It was the original hybridization program. That's why they had 12 tribes allegedly, because they crossbred with 12 different species to try to populate the planet. What they was trying to do was get as far away from the original species as possible. If you keep watering down the genetic bloodline, then it makes it start being easier to conquer because you're starting to conquer creation as opposed to the original man and woman that was here that understood his purpose. Once you keep diluting the bloodline, you're getting, they might still be dark, but you're getting less and less 100% human being genetics and DNA. So, I mean, that's that. We got, last thing I want to say is they're about to put a bunch of black stuff in front of you to make it look like everything is getting better. They're going to start talking reparations. You're going to start seeing a lot of black people in front of you, and it's going to start to look like your, see, the reason why they're showing you all of this is because they're about to use the Hebrew Israelite thing to entrap you. The real Hebrew Israelites are Saturnians, but they're about to entrap you into that thought process, and then they're going to start showing you black prominence, and they're going to start telling you these are the 12 tribes, and they're going to start telling you that this is just like God predicted. At the end of your 400 years, you was going to regain power. So they're going to show you the whole thing is this is not about regaining power. This is about creating a civilization of peace. If you regain power, you're not going to create a civilization of peace. And so that's why they have to get into your mind frame to gain power. So if they can put you in power without them actually losing power, they have accomplished the mission. The reality is this whole system should be torn down until they beg for mercy, and then you replace it. But they're going to try to trick you before you get to that point and convince you that Black Jesus, get back into Christianity, start worshiping Jesus, and stop listening to these heretics, and they're about to play that card. So y'all just got to be careful and don't fall for a banana in a tailpipe. That's the thing with that. Past that point, we cooked super heavy tonight, man. So where we at? Wait, well, here we go. God damn it. I always lose this every time. In terms of being the chosen ones, they deem others non-human. Break that down for me, Queen. I don't know what you mean by that. Oh yeah. Wait. Give me 30 seconds to grab this and then put it in the chat what you mean for me, so I make sure I'm saying the right thing. And we're going to I don't know if I'm going to club. I'm still getting late, man. We usually would have been done. Here I come, y'all. My fault. Here I come. Go to looking for shit when I get hungry. All right, let me go back over here. In terms of being chosen ones, they deem others non-human. Oh, you still didn't put no answer down there, Queen. I didn't know what you was talking about. I do know you said they deem anything outside of the chosen ones is non-human. If that's what you're saying, the chosen ones aren't human at all. So the chosen ones are here to protect humans. In terms of being the chosen ones, they deem others non-human. Oh, the Hebrews is being the chosen ones. Oh, I see what you're saying. But see, that okay, so like I said, the real chosen ones are non-humans, and you wouldn't know them if you see them. The real chosen ones come disguised as regular people, not a clique or a crew. Because if you're a chosen one, you on a mission to not gain attention. So anybody in shoulder pads with spikes on running around chanting and shit trying to get attention is not chosen ones. And then so for them to deem others as non-human, if you're really part of the 12 tribes, your DNA is going to be, your DNA traced back to Saturn. If you're a real human, your DNA traces back to Mars. So that's the difference right there. But these 12 tribes, this whole concept is a Anunnaki concept that was created to dilute the bloodline into multiple strands that could be controlled. Because remember, this whole planet is under a colonization hybridization process. So they're trying to use hybrids to oversee the colonization. They're not even 100% human. At this point, in all honesty, it's just the meaning of the word and reasoning, just the supremacy of the word. In all honesty, there's very few human beings left on this planet that can actually trace their DNA back to just being human. They've spliced so much DNA on this planet that the ones that are still 100% human are mostly in hiding. Anything connected to this Hebrew Israelite thing, if you're really, really, really a part of that bloodline, you're a Saturnian. That's where the whole concept comes from. It started in Sumeria, ended up in Mesopotamia. But like I said, they want to try to make Mesopotamia like it's not Africa. Mesopotamia, when you see that, anytime you see that in the Bible, that just means Middle East, and the Middle East is still Africa. But yeah, there's really no such thing as a Hebrew, and the Jews and the people be killing me is talking about I'm a black Jew. Look at the word Jewish. Ish means to be like. That means you're not the original. So they tell on themselves all the time. That's why they call themselves Jewish, because they're not the real deal, and they know that. And look at the hat that the Jews wear. It's the black dome with the circle. That's the Saturnian ring. And you know, there's something called the black coat of Saturn. This shit goes back thousands of years ago. They wore all black robes. This is why your judge wear the black robe. This is why you graduate in a black robe. Amish wear black. The Jews wear black. The same dome hat with the circles. This is all Saturn worship. So that's who they really are. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Damn, I forgot just that fast. I forgot what I was gonna say. But so we have drones, aliens, the black Jesus hustle, and the little white lie. And the little white lie was, well, all of it is a little white lie. But you got Elon Musk, Donald Trump. Why is it not a Jewish TV show? I don't know. Every TV show is Jewish. That's who control the shit. Shit. But what I'm finna say? You got Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and Putin. I keep seeing shit from them about exposing the lie about black people. Exposing the lie about black people. Blackish. You know what? I never watched that show, Atlas. I never watched that show. I've seen like pieces of an episode, and I'm somebody who like, I don't like I'm not big on funny shit being in serious places. If I'm gonna watch something funny, it's a choice I want to make to say I'm gonna watch something funny. I don't like you to sneak it in on me. Well, I think I'm gonna watch some serious shit and you get to telling jokes. But I'm just not big on comedies regardless of that fact. So I never really seen Blackish. And then the piece of the episode that I did see, I forgot what it was, but it was some shit that I ain't like right off the bat, so I never put it on again. Excuse me, y'all. But at the end of the day, oh, that's not finna say. Now they played this thing from Elon Musk talking about everybody deserve to know the truth and black people are being lied to. And he did a whole little presentation where he broke down how it's not fair that we've been misled by religion. And he waited till a good 20 minutes into it before he got around to us by saying if there's, indigenous people or something like that have been omitted from the stories, and I think we deserve to know the truth. So in a roundabout way, he was saying y'all need to stop lying to these niggas and telling the truth. Now, what we got to get out of the habit of is thinking that anything is for the benefit of us. So if they decide that they want to tell black folks the truth or a percentage of the truth, it's not for you. So as soon as they start telling you something that makes you feel better, you should instantly look, say, wait. Why do they want us to know this? What's the real play? Why did they wake up and decide, you know what, niggas should know? And you can't say, because we was finding out anyway. We found out 50 years ago. We've been new. This is not new information. Niggas in the 70s was teaching Jesus is black. This is not new. In the 60s, they was teaching Jesus is black. The pimps in the 60s knew Jesus was black. Come on, man. This is not new information. Why they decide to share it now in the middle of an alien invasion? Are they trying to say, well, you niggas finna get invaded by aliens. Let's see if Jesus comes. Why now? That's how you gotta ask yourself, why now? Because it's not for your benefit, period. And I might not have all answers, but I know 100% they have never done anything in your favor. So anytime something happens and you feel favored by it, you need to stop yourself and say, what am I really looking at? Let's go to this alien disclosure. You really think they sat around like, you know what? We feel bad that we're not being honest. It's just time to tell the truth. Is that what y'all think happened? You think that they just had a heartfelt moment and felt guilty about lying for a couple 100 years and decided, hey, let's come on out with it? No. Go back to some of Da Vinci paintings. They got a Da Vinci painting where he got UFOs all the way in the background. Why does Da Vinci have UFOs in his paintings? I'll do you one better. And anybody could Google this. Put something as simple into the Google search as Alexander the Great and UFOs and watch what the fuck pop up. Alexander the Great. He took over Egypt in 326 BC. BC. That is 1,500 years ago. Back then, it was rumored that he had help from alien spacecrafts on the battlefield. I ain't saying it happened. I ain't saying it didn't happen. I said it was rumored 1,500 years ago. 600 years ago, Da Vinci was painting it in his paintings. How and why? That's all I'm saying. And you don't even got to have an answer, but you do have to think about it. How and why was Da Vinci painting UFOs 1,600 years ago? 600 years ago. 1,500 years ago, how was Alexander the Great reported to be getting UFO help on the battlefield? The same guy that was reported to be the son of a god and a virgin birth was also reported to be getting UFO help on the battlefield. This is not no new shit I'm making up. This is what they was talking about back then. I wasn't around back then, at least not in this form. So if you don't like that, talk to them about it. I ain't saying you got to have an answer for anything tonight. What I am suggesting is that you think about this shit a little bit harder than you have. Because the answers are not cut and dry right in front of your face. This is some shit. If you're not really putting in hard hours studying and digging into this shit, you're not going to get it. It's the reason why I spend all my free time studying. Because this shit ain't easy to find. Y'all read one or two things to catch your attention and you live there. When I want to know something, I read everything on that one topic. I might check 17 different sources on one topic. I will spend weeks on one topic until I'm satisfied I understand. I'm not going to use one or two sources and then bring it to y'all like, ta-da! No. I go deep as that motherfucking ocean floor y'all keep talking about. That's where my information comes from, down. So you got to be willing to sacrifice and really learn this stuff because it's not right in front of your face and it's not easy to access. But they tell everything they do. You just got to find it. I'm going to say this and then we're going to get up out of here. The drones, if they didn't know where they was coming from, they'd have shot them down by now. The fact that no one anywhere on the planet has opened fire on any of these drones tells you a lot. Especially when Trump is on the way into office, and the last time he was all in office, he killed one of those little leaders in the Middle East through remote control. So if our United States government has used drone attacks to kill high-ranking officials, why aren't we worried about the drones here? Why aren't we more concerned? Where the fuck is Joe Biden at when the planet is under drone attack and the president ain't gave not one fucking speech to address the issue? Not even the vice president? Why the fuck is Trump talking every night? Every fucking night, Trump is telling us what's going on. Who's really in control of this bitch? No Kamala saying shit. No Joe Biden saying shit. Why? Where they at? So we can scratch drones off our list and understand that they're in control of that. Aliens. They didn't come through the ocean floor from another planet because that's impossible. And if we're in a dome, they didn't come from outer space. So if there's aliens here, they've been here already. And if they've been here already, there's no way in hell our dumbass government is still in control. AKA, you have been and you currently are controlled by those things that you're worried about invading the planet. They already invaded 1 million years ago and been in power the entire time. Black Jesus, whether he was black or white, he was a 30-year-old man who disappeared for 17 years. And when he came back, all he did was hang out with children, get naked around them and wash their feet. I don't trust him. I don't give a fuck what color he was. Little white lies. Anything you see on the motherfucking media, anything they tell us, you can believe the opposite is probably the truth. Unless they doing some shit like they doing right now, which is confessing to some shit we already know. Therefore, we have accomplished, you go to the, where's the evidence of that, King? Where's the evidence that you can take the bottom of the ocean and go to another planet? Why would the planets be connected through the ocean? And where's the evidence of that? Because if you got some concrete evidence, I'm open to it. I just think if you can get to other planets through the ocean, then that means all planets are connected. Telescopes are pointless, and so are spacecrafts. And if you could get through Mars from the ocean, why put a dome on the planet if you can leave anyway? And one thing I could tell you for sure, Mars is not a dead planet. There's no such thing as a dead planet. You have either planets that are being terraformed for a new species, or there's a species on it. Planets are created for a particular species. God does not make planets to have them sit there. When he creates a planet, he already has a species in mind for that planet. So, if we're dealing with planet Mars, human beings come from planet Mars. So, if you could get to Mars through the ocean, this war would have been over with by now, because it's reptilians versus human beings. Human beings come from Mars. We would have been bringing in humans through the ocean, not alien spacecrafts. So we have to make sure that, like I just said before, when we come across new information, before we bring it to our family, we got to we got to check it 1,000 different ways, so that when we come to the family, we say, this is what we believe, and here's the evidence. Otherwise, we start a whole ball of confusion with going through the ocean floor to get to Mars, because how can we substantiate that so that we could teach it? We have to be able to prove it so we could teach it with confidence. So if you have information on that, I'm definitely open to it. All of my research and information says it's impossible and illogical to connect planets through the ocean. That would mean that all planets are underwater, which would mean, why not just make us an aquatic species? Because the atmosphere in outer space is water also. So you could have just made us a bunch of fish. Yeah, the Mars thing, especially not Mars. That's the one planet I'm almost positive that's not accurate with, because when they say they're colonizing Mars, they're lying. I can promise you this: as above, so below, released the CIA files. So you got some CIA files that say you can get to Mars through the ocean. I definitely want to see that, because they lying, but I would love to see it. And you should check out POP Pop Culture sometime. You should tag me. I don't be on the internet, bro. Tag me in something. Anything you want me to see, tag me in it. I don't check out no pages. I don't have time. I'm always studying for y'all. I don't be on Facebook at all, bro. I post some shit. I post, and while I post, I feel guilty, so I scroll for about 5 minutes. I see something I like, I hit it, then I'm gone. I don't spend very much time on social media at all. That's probably to my detriment, but okay. And then if you get something, that's why we had you went there. We did a whole room on like good methods of research. We had a deep conversation. Once you get these documentations or whatever you get, you got to take that through a lot of different channels. You can't have one source. You got to take it through, run that source through the ringer and make sure it's accurate. Because one thing we have to understand about the CIA, they was only created for the drug trades. The entire purpose of creating the CIA was for the drug trade. So now, does that mean you can't find? Hell yeah, you got a lot of accurate shit in the CIA files. You just have to make sure it's authentic. go on the CIA website, make sure it matches with the documentation that you got, see what year it was, see everything surrounding it, see who wrote it up, for what purpose. That's how intricate I get when I get into the CIA files, because I want to see what was the events surrounding this incident that caused the report. But I'll go check out whatever you're talking about, bro. I ain't got no problem with that. There's definitely bases in the ocean floor, but almost everything they tell you about Mars is a lie, because when they tell you they can go to Mars and colonize it, that's a lie. With every being of my existence, I could promise you that's a lie. Nobody from this planet is leaving. And if they could leave, let me promise you something. If the people who control this planet could actually leave, the absolute last place they would ever go is Mars. The absolute last place that anybody connected with hijacking this planet wants to go is Mars. You know why? Because the ass whooping that they took on Mars is what made them run their ass here. So they don't want to be on Mars. They'd have been got fucked up. This shit don't fly on Mars. You got to come to a planet where the people are in the early stages of development and don't know no better. You go to any planet with advanced melanated beings, you getting your ass whooped. It ain't nobody fighting in the galaxy whooping advanced melanated people. When you understand what the purpose of the human being was, the human being was a mixture of all the previous races that preceded him. That's what the human being was created from. Every race that preceded the human being, they took all of them and put it into one package. So why worry about the evolution of all of these different species that's going to keep evolving into different spaces where they disagree, when you can take one species, compose everything in it, and give it ultimate evolutionary potential, meaning the human being can evolve. There's no cap on the evolution of the human being, which means ultimately the human being will be what regulates the universe and stops all this galactic war, because you're going to end up with something that can't be defeated. It is the hybrid of every other species. So you don't want no smoke with nobody coming from Mars or Jupiter. Jupiter is like the galactic military. That's like when the feds come see about your ass. Imagine the feds times 1,000 coming to see about your ass. Whatever you got, as far as that documentation, brethren, send it to me. You know me, I'm gonna look at it diligently, and I will tell you this: if I find out I'm in error, I'll publicly apologize. I'm giving you what I believe and know to be true from all my studies. If I'm ever in error, I don't have zero problem with a public apology and letting the public know, hey, my brother was right the other night. I said this. I was mistaken. Here's why I said it. Here's why he's correct and I'm not. I don't got no problem with that. So, just send me whatever you got, brother, and let me look through it. And I definitely will check it out. I just we can't disrespect quote unquote space travel. There was actually a such thing as galactic travel. It just isn't anymore in that way, but there once was. The ocean is the home of aquatic creatures and aquatic bloodlines. So there are certain species that have then habitats under the ocean floor, you got two: the natural ones and the ones that are hiding. Atlantis was an underwater civilization. It never was completely destroyed. If it had been completely destroyed, there wouldn't be any rulers anymore. They just fucked it up real bad. And they had to go hiding in Egypt for a while and rebuild. Anything that get destroyed to get rebuilt. They had a couple thousand years to do it. So you think they never built another underwater city? If they had them before, why wouldn't they do it again? But definitely ain't nobody coming from Mars, I promise you, man. They even admitted to you and showed you that on the exterior of Mars is a lock-head African woman. All the species in Mars have locks. There's no different hairdos, bald fade. No. You have locks. All our people outside of this planet have locks. It's spirituality. Hair is spiritual. It's divine. Species in other planets not running around getting no fucking haircuts. It's not what's happening. So Samson said my strength is in my hair. And this is a direct connection to the divine realms. So locks are very important and essential to divinity. That's about it, y'all. I can't believe we made it this long. I'm just rambling at this point. I just like talking. I ain't shit. Let's go to Mars then. Some of us going. There will be a point in human history where you'll be able to go back and forth regularly. It's going to be a while, but it's going to happen. Because that was the plan in the first place. There was never supposed to be a separation between Mars and Earth and Saturn. That was what your Bible explains. The reason why all that occurred is in your Bible. It's the entire story of what the Bible is talking about. It actually is an extraterrestrial story. When I said that earlier, I was saying you got to decode it. I was just painting a picture. But realistically, you have this character called Yahweh, who they tell you is not from here. And then you have a character named Jesus, who's not from here. And you have these characters named angels who are not from this planet. And you have a character named Satan who's not from this planet. All the key characters didn't come from here. So this is a story about how other beings came to this planet and what they did when they got here. Just as simple. So either way, needless to say, we kind of did our thing out here tonight. Ain't gonna be no clubhouse, Jack. It's almost 10:30. Yeah, clubhouse ain't gonna happen. But there's a strong possibility we'll be back tomorrow. We come up with something heavy. Tonight was super dope though. So y'all make sure y'all share this shit, man. Y'all don't be sharing this joint. And let's get back in here tomorrow and do it again. If y'all got something, inbox me. Otherwise, I'll see you Sunday. Knowledge is the only real power. Information is the only real currency. But the application of both is the route to divinity. I love you.